Welcome to Element Hobbies, and in this video we're going to break down a deck with Frodo, Sauron's Bane as commander. Now, first things first, I hate the ring and the ring tempts you. If you don't know, the ring tempts you is a phrase that appears on some of the cards in the Lord of the Rings set that triggers an out-of-game tracker called the ring. On the first trigger of the ring tempts you, put the ring into play, but like not actually into play. It's that area where you keep emblems and the day-night system, and it's the nebulous void where the idea for Innistrad double feature came from. Then you choose a ring bearer. This just means that you choose a creature you control to become the designated ring bearer. If you temporarily control a creature from a active treason type effect, you can make one of your opponent's creatures a ring bearer for a turn, but they lose their ring bearer-ness once you lose control of that creature. Once your ring bearer is chosen, then the ring gains effects in order that they appear on the emblem, from top to bottom. First, your ring bearer becomes legendary, and can't be blocked by creatures with greater power than itself. Next, whenever your ring bearer attacks, draw a card and then discard a card. Then, whenever your ring bearer becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller sacrifices it at the end of combat. And finally, whenever your ring bearer deals combat damage to a player, each opponent loses 3 life. Further technicalities can be found on the ring token itself. Now, to reiterate, I hate this mechanic. Emblems are whatever, but I really hate when there are mechanics outside of the game that you need to track. I really hate the day-night mechanic, and I giga hate this. I would rather spend my mental energies remembering the 10th line of text on a questing beast that's about to kill me, than if I remembered to choose a ring bearer last turn. You have the best game in the world. Stop making stuff you have to worry about outside of that game. So then why am I building a deck around this mechanic that I hate so much? The answer, my friends, is I don't know. So we got this little guy in the command zone, and he has this level up mechanic. It was originally featured on the Figure of Destiny card because Kithkin are basically the Magic the Gathering legally distinct version of hobbits. Frodo, Sauron's Bane is a 1/2 for 1 white mana. He's a legendary halfling citizen where you can pay hybrid Orzhov twice to make him a halfling scout, with lifelink and a power and toughness boost to 2/3. Then you can pay 3 black mana to turn Frodo into a halfling rogue with, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game if the ring has tempted you 4 or more times this game. Otherwise, the ring tempts you. I think I'm going to go with the showcase version of Frodo. The borderless one seems, I don't know, he looks very scared, which is fine given the context of the full scene and the story, but I don't want my commander to be more frightened than Norn the Wary when it's not Norn the Wary. I'm not a big fan of the standard version either. It's fine. It just lacks any kind of pizzazz. The showcase one is actually not that great either. I'm not sure why the showcase and the standard version Frodo is like 1/8 of the art frame. He's a legendary character going on one of the greatest hero's journeys of all time. Put some respect on him, jeez. So the goal of this deck is to get 4 ring temptations, and then take out players with a resistant and evasive Frodo. We're going to load up on cards that give you ring temptations, as well as cards that give you lots of evasion and protection. It's a simple strategy, but very effective. We're going to start off with the package that causes the ring to tempt you. As expected, wherever Frodo goes, Samwise follows, and Gollum can't be far behind. Samwise the Stout-Hearted can return Frodo from an early demise. Generally, he's good to avoid an instance of commander attacks. Gollum, Patient Plotter, is fine to chump block or to sacrifice to an edict effect. And Boromir is there too, I suppose. It's solid board protection as well as a way to make Magic more fair. Now we reach a problem point. Normally I would be suggesting to run the 9 Nazgul, and obviously you would run one of each art. However, the Nazgul are something like 10 to 15 bucks right now, and I do not suggest spending 100 bucks on this spot. Instead, you can run any of these to fill in any Nazgul voids you may have. I think the Witch King of Angmar and Claim the Precious are probably the best, but they're all about the same. You're really just using them for the temptations. Nazgul provide an alternate win condition in the case that you can chain a few of them together and then have them buff each other, but again, I don't think it's worth 100 bucks. Frodo is a fragile little munchkin, so we need to protect him at all costs. We start with Grand Abolisher, Ranger Captain of Eos, and Silence. All 3 of these will turn off your opponent's spells, and I would try to use them on turns where you plan to swing with Frodo lethal. Mother of Runes and Giver of Runes will provide a constant threat of protection. Slip on the Ring, Rebuff the Wicked, and Sajiri Shelter are all good protection spells at instant speed. Slip on the ring also tempts, so you may want to use this for an instant ring temptation mid-combat instead of the blink. Vexilus Praetor is a great catch-all for whatever ails Frodo. Malachor Rebirth works probably best in response to board wipes. Ratad Dab Brick of Urborg is technically protection in the way Hugh Jackman was protecting himself in The Prestige. The gear section is comprised of things to put onto Frodo to make him more evasive and sustainable. Sigarda's Aid, Forge Anew, and Ardent Interpret Archaeologist provide free ways to move your equipment around without interrupting your other plans. Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots are staples in general, but even better here where a freshly cast Frodo can get haste and kill someone before they have a chance to prepare. Bilbo's Ring and Whisper Silk Cloak provide protection and make it so Frodo cannot be blocked. Angelic Gift and Trailblazer's Boots both provide different types of evasion, flying and non-basic landwalk respectively. Mithril Coat, Spirit Mantle, and Robe of Stars all provide additional levels of protection. A lot of this gear seems redundant, but you really only need one protection gear and one evasion gear to be a threat. So you want to make sure you have some redundancy to make sure you get what you need. Rounding out the gear is Shadow Spear and Frodo Determined Hero. Shadow Spear is nice on the off chance that you can use the trample to deal combat damage over a blocking token, but it's the utility of removing hexproof and indestructibility that earns its spot. Frodo Determined Hero is kind of on the bubble, honestly. It seems like it would be good since you get a bunch of free equips, but unless he's your ring bearer, having all that gear on him seems pointless in advancing your ultimate winning goal. I'll have to test him more, feel free to substitute him out if you'd like. As mentioned before, I have a small package of Pillow Fort cards. Silent Arbiter and Crawl Space limit the number of creatures that can attack you. Silent Arbiter doesn't really hamper you since your most important combat steps only involve Frodo anyways. Crawl Space just gives you some breathing room since your ring does take time to set up. We start with Perpetual card draw in Call of the Ring and Phyrexian Arena. Pay attention with Call of the Ring. You always get the ring temptation, but you only get the second trigger as long as you have a creature to make the ring bearer. Triggering this on an empty board doesn't do much. Also relevant, the second trigger is a May ability, in case you want to save that life. Esper Sentinel and Archivist of Ligma are both conditional draws, but good enough to be essentially constant card draw. Stoneforge Mystic and Enlightened Tutor help getting the gear that you need at the right time. Night's Whisper is for some immediate card draw. I'm not sure it's the best option here, but it's cheap and reliable, and I know it has a baseline level of goodness. We start with my most favorite cards of all time, that are definitely not cripplingly ubiquitous at all. Arcane Signet and Soul Ring. You know what? I have a proposition. My best performing videos get like 70 to 80 likes. If this video gets 100 likes over any length of time, from the moment it hits 100 likes, I will not put Soul Ring or Arcane Signet into any new decks for 1 full year. To keep me honest, if you see there are 100 and I don't have an update in the description, please leave a comment letting me know. That way I can get the notification. I'll try to keep my eye on it, but it's possible that I may miss it. Anyways, on to the rest of the ramp. Talisman of Hierarchy and Smothering Tithe round out the other traditional ramp spells. Lotho Corrupt Sheriff and Lobelia Sackville Baggins are alternate forms of ramp that I kind of want to mess around with. You can probably replace these with any of your preferred ramp, something more traditional like Command Sphere, Mind Stone, whatever. I'm also throwing land tax in here because Frodo's third ability costs 3 black mana, so hitting the right amount of mana is just as important as getting enough mana. It's a bit of an edge case, but it's something I'm okay with. Orzhov is known for stellar removal. Generous Gift, Reprieve, and Vindicate can target just about anything, while Mortify, Fracture, and Despark each have a niche set of targets. Austere Command and Farewell are powerful, multifunctional board wipes. Austere Command itself can potentially clear the way for a clean Frodo kill. Damn and Wrath of God are reliable creature wipes. Since Frodo is really the only creature you care about, feel free to throw these off to just wipe the board of creatures whenever you want. I run a couple of alternate win conditions in Colossus Hammer and Sublime Archangel. It's pretty likely that Frodo is going to get dealt with, and as much as I want this to be a strictly Frodo or nothing type deck, you really should have a plan B. Since you're going to have lots of equipment for evasion, Colossus Hammer fits really well. You also have a few different ways of getting the hammer equipped for free. Sublime Archangel will let you take advantage of that evasion gear in a different way. Multiple triggers of Exalted on your ring bearer can be a real threat, and sometimes you'll just have random dorks lying around that do nothing. We run 5 utility lands that focus mostly on evasion. Access Tunnel, Rogue's Passage, and the Blackgate can all get Frodo through for lethal. Minas Tirith can get you some extra cards, while Cabal Coffers can churn out black mana to activate Frodo's first and second abilities in one turn. Nothing fancy here, I run 11 plains and 10 swamps. From there I run 8 Orzhov producing lands. Feel free to use what you have, avoiding any tap lands and pathways if possible. I run Command Tower, Caves of Koilos, Godless Shrine, Isolated Chapel, Shattered Sanctum, Marsh Flats, Scrubland, and Vault of Champions. This deck really only has 2 phases. Early game is all about ring ramp, getting tempted as much as possible. A full ring makes all your other creatures value machines. The other phase is really any time post maximized ring. At that point you become a threat. Any attack with Frodo can be lethal. Now there's good and bad to that, the bad being that you really are a one-note and pretty predictable commander deck. The good being that after a Cyclonic Rift type effect, you might be able to pull a surprise RKO out of nowhere type kill. For opening hands, you generally want something like a card generation, an evasion equipment, and 1 to 2 ways to get tempted by the ring. If you don't have any temptations in your opening hand, remember, Frodo can get you temptations by himself. Look, I'm not gonna lie, you are all in on the Frodo kill with this deck. You don't really have any other plan Bs, and once you max out the ring, the entire table may turn on you, because now, Frodo is a huge threat. You have a lot of protection in this deck, but you could also have a lot of things to be protecting from. Look, I'm not going to say this deck is super good or competitive, but it is fun. Killing people with a shaved Ewok is cool. I hope this helps your travels to Isengard or Mount Doom or whatever, though it's probably more efficient if you just fly there on Eagles. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe. I'm looking to ramp up the volume and frequency of these videos, so I'll have a lot more of them on the way. If you're looking for another commander deck with little dudes, check out my Gix Yawgmoth Praetor EDH guide here. Thank you for watching Element Hobbies. The fact that any amount of people watch these is just amazing to me, so thank you very much, and I will see you around.